We are going to jump ahead a couple years here to 1955. Garner Ted again. He became an ordained minister into the Worldwide Church of God ministry. I think at this point he was still kind of disinterested in the whole thing. But guess what his father did? This is very much an abusive tactic, but Garner Ted apparently explained to his father, hey, I'm just not interested in this. This is not the role that I want to play in my life. His father told him that his opposition alone in wanting to join this organization was a sign from God that he should actually do it. So he guilted his son into becoming an international figure into the Worldwide Church of God.
By telling him that God had told him he needed to do it? Okay.
He said it was a sign from God that your strong opposition to it. Okay.
I'm sorry. This is a public service announcement. If anyone, and I mean anyone, tells you that they have a message for you from a deity that requires you to go do something, especially something you weren't already going to do, they are bullshitting you, and you should run far and fast. That's all I had to say. God, that makes me mad.
Why are we getting... Oh,
I'm getting so steamed today.
It's so hard and... Yes. It's so hard not to get heated over this part of the timeline here, because as we read through things, I didn't even realize how many dots I would connect. Again, we're only getting like maybe 1% of the whole picture here, but hey, it's a start. I am not really going to get into like Herbert W. Armstrong's grandkids and all that, because
they don't deserve any of that.
It doesn't really matter. It was not their choice to kind of be born into this, I want to say, clusterfuck of a situation where there were hundreds, if not thousands, of people involved and affected by Herbert W. Armstrong's teachings. You know, they didn't ask for that. And some might even still be involved with the church, and maybe not even by their choice, or maybe they don't even know that they have a choice.
That is it, exactly. It's the people don't realize they have a choice. They don't even think, do I have a choice? And that's what early conditioning does.
1953, around the time when Garner Ted Armstrong got married. That same year, The World Tomorrow was first broadcast on ABC television network. So keep in the back of our minds here, the program, the church, Herbert W. Armstrong's religious empire is just growing at an unprecedented rate. Okay. Garner Ted Armstrong does become an ordained evangelist for Worldwide Church of God, and he took over a lot of like the broadcasting responsibilities. So it was always his face for a while that you saw, as well as like he traveled South America quite a bit, doing his evangelizing. For some reason, he was fluent in Spanish. I don't know how that came about. Maybe he just learned it as a kid, but he ended up doing a lot of the programs in Spanish to reach out to a wider audience. Okay.
If you grew up in California, it's pretty much bilingual there.
1956 brings us the most controversial book that Herbert W. Armstrong ever wrote. 1975 in Prophecy. It was released during his, big expansion into Europe of his program. And he scared the shit out of people. He literally scared the shit out of people by saying things like the year 1972 also plays into this, but he's basically saying that his people will be brought to a place of safety during the Great Tribulation. Okay, 1975 is going to bring about things like a third of the population is going to die to things like starvation and famine and disease. So obviously 1975 came and went. The prophecy that Armstrong came up with did not take place. And I think a lot of people ended up leaving the church at this point because they realized, hey, Armstrong's prophecies were not coming true. And
thus he is a false prophet, because that's what they always talked about. You can tell if they're true, if their prophecies come true. Hello.
But a lot of people did not leave. And can I just kind of throw out a few fun facts here of what did actually happen in the year 1975?
Yeah, do it.
We have Wheel of Fortune made its debut that year.
Whoa.
Microsoft was founded, and Jimmy Hoffa disappeared. Okay. Now, Armstrong mentions a few. He mentions a few horrible things that were supposed to happen in 1975. Now, given this is an entire year, right? There are going to be things that happen in an entire year that you would normally see. Like, okay, Lyme disease came up with its first diagnosis in 1975. In 1975, the Vietnam War was taking place, but it did also end that year. The civil war in Lebanon did begin that year, as well as the Cambodian genocide, which I know a lot of people died from that. But again, it can't correlate with the level of destruction that Armstrong was talking about with the
No.
mass burials,
You
a
could
third of
pick
the population dying.
you could pick any year and come up with a
Any
list to
year.
be like, ooh, ooh, ooh.
Right.
And that's what he did.
In
He
a
was
whole
late
year,
on
you
that.
have things like natural disasters and typhoons. I know Typhoon Nina also happened that year near China. There was like 230,000 people that died. But again, it's not on that level that Armstrong was talking about.
No.
You can make predictions, you can make prophecies about the future, and some might come close. Even if they're spot on, hey, that's a really good guess, people. Come on.
Right.
So,
Well, and you were saying something earlier about he wrote what was it, 1968 he wrote the book and it's about 1975. They were mid-trib, meaning that they thought the tribulation would start and it's a 7-year tribulation, and at the halfway point, so 3.5 years in, is when the true church would be taken to a place of safety, which I never heard what place that was stated, but apparently somewhere Petra, something like that in the Middle East was
Pet-
the place.
Petra Jordan. So if you've ever watched
Sure.
that third film, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, they do go into that sort of temple to look for the cup of
Oh.
Christ. That's Petra Jordan. Yeah. I don't know
Oh.
how Armstrong got the idea that Petra Jordan was going to be the place of safety for his true people.
I'm
God's
sure
true
he
people.
made
I don't
up
know.
something out of the book, took a couple words and put them together.